I'm Esther from Skylark First Aid. This is a video telling you how to do CPR on an adult, so that's somebody over the age of 18. There is a shorter video to watch if you just want a really quick reminder. So if you've been on one of my courses in the past and you just want a really quick refresher, there is a shorter video getting straight to the point of how to do CPR. This is a little bit more in detail, telling you the whys and wherefores and showing you and telling you how to do CPR properly. Always recommend that you go on a first aid course. So really these videos are for people who have been on one of my courses. If you're watching this for the first time and you've never done any training, I really suggest that you do go on a course to learn how to do it properly. So CPR is cardiopulmonary resuscitation. So this person, an adult over the age of 18, is probably in cardiac arrest. So the heart is not pumping blood properly around the body. And within a few seconds, once the heart has stopped pumping blood and oxygen up to the brain, the person will stop breathing. They can do agonal breathing in the first few minutes after they've stopped breathing normally. This can be described as gaspy, noisy breaths. They're laboured breathing, it doesn't look right, it doesn't sound right, they can gulp, their tongue can move in and out. It doesn't look very nice, this agonal breathing, and it's definitely not what you would call normal breathing. If you see this agonal breathing, that is classed as not breathing and you need to start CPR straight away. So don't expect them to wake up during CPR. They might, then again they might not. It's not a given that they will magically recover and start breathing just because you're doing CPR. That's definitely not always the case. So don't be surprised if they don't wake up. It isn't anything that you are doing incorrectly. Anything that you do is better than nothing. So it's better than you just sitting there looking at them until the ambulance arrives. So anything that you do is wonderful and fantastic. So don't try and put pressure on yourself. Am I doing it correctly? What am I doing wrong because they're not waking up? That absolutely isn't the case at all. Just get on with it, do what you can, and anything you can do is wonderful. If you don't do anything at all, the chances are that they're going to die. So anything that you can do is really going to help them survive. Now, if you're willing to do the chest compressions and nothing else, that's great. That doubles their chances of surviving. But if you're also willing to do the rescue breaths, that triples their chances of surviving. So you don't have to do the rescue breaths. If you don't want to do them, you would just do continual chest compressions. That might be thousands of them. If you are willing to put these 2 rescue breaths in after every 30 compressions, it really does increase their chances of surviving yet again. So if you can do that, it is fantastic. I would again recommend that you go on a first aid course to learn how to do those properly. If you've never been on a course, it might be better for you to stick to the continual chest compressions only. So let's have a look then. 30 compressions. We're going to put our hands in the middle of their chest, right in the centre on that sternum, that breastbone where all the ribs join. I'd always rip the clothes open if I can, because I want to see where I'm putting my hands. And you're looking for the bottom of their rib cage. So you can see the ribs come up to that point there. You're going to put the heel of your hand above that point. So the whole of your hand is on that breastbone. None of it's drifting off onto the soft bit below. So my strongest hand goes down. The other hand goes on top and you interlink your fingers. If that's really uncomfortable, you can do that, one on top of the other. Some people do it like that, where they curl the fingers under. To be honest, whatever is comfortable for you is absolutely fine. So this is the best way to do it. Pull the fingers up, because all the pressure goes through the sternum, the breastbone. You're not actually pressing on the ribs themselves. And while we're on the subject of ribs, does it matter if you break them? Simple answer is no. And nobody in this country has ever been sued for giving first aid to somebody. So that's a myth. So please don't let that stop you. We're not aiming to break their ribs. It would be nice if we didn't. So good technique will keep rib breakage to a minimum. So that's why I'm saying pull your fingers up. Pressure is actually going through the heel of the hand. Then lock your elbows. You want strong, straight arms. Get up on your knees and over the top of them. Shuffle your knees back a bit if you want to, because you use your body weight to press down. I'm not using the muscles in my arms and my shoulders. I'll get too tired too quickly and it's not a good technique. So get right over the top of them. So I've got this vertical, directly downwards pressure in the centre of their chest, okay? We do 30. Does it matter if you accidentally do 27 or 33? No, of course it doesn't. We're just aiming for 30. You will be panicking. There'll be a lot of pressure on you. So does it matter if you slightly get these numbers wrong? Of course not. As I said, anything is better than nothing. But we're aiming for 30. You could get somebody, if there's some help there, to stand and count to 30 for you every time. That would be quite useful actually. So I'm going to do 30 compressions at a depth of 5 to 6 centimetres. And again, that's, you need to be 5 to 6. If you go less than 4, you're not doing it hard enough. If you go more than 6, it could be too hard. So 5 to 6 centimetre depth. And the speed is 100 to 120 per minute. So if you think about doing 2 compressions a second, that's about what you want to be at. You'll hear the mannequin click and that shows I've gone down to the right depth. So 30 compressions. Just make sure that you allow the rib cage to come right the way up before you press down again, so you're allowing it to recoil completely. So doing this wouldn't be any good because I'm only coming up halfway and then I'm going down again. So you need to allow that full recoil of the rib cage to enable an efficient compression. But don't take your hand off. You've got to keep your hands in contact with them all the time, otherwise you won't put them back down in the right place again. So allow it to come up completely, but keep in contact with them. So that's the 30 chest compressions. We'll now have a look at the 2 rescue breaths. I'm going to very lazily move this along so that it's still in line with my camera. Obviously you wouldn't do that, you'd lean over towards the head. While you're doing the compressions, forget the head, you don't have to do anything with it. But every time we're about to do these 2 rescue breaths, I need to put fingers on chin, hand on head and open the airway to move the tongue away from the back of the throat to give me a clear passage to get air in to the lungs. And you can either do mouth to mouth or mouth to nose. It doesn't matter which one you do. Perhaps they've got an injury around their mouth and you can't make a seal, then mouth to nose would be better. So it depends on the situation you're in, on which one that you pick really. Let's do mouth to mouth. Fingers on chin, hand on head, tilt the head backwards. This hand also squeezes the nose shut, this hand opens the mouth. And you're making a seal around their gums. It's not lip to lip, you're putting your lips around their gums. So open your mouth quite big and push your lips outwards. That way you won't get bruised lips. So don't pull your lips in. People often do that and end up with bruises around the lips. It's better if you can, push your lips outwards. So open your mouth quite big, make a seal, and you're going to blow for a second. Watch the chest rise and fall out of the corner of your eye. Take a deep breath in for yourself and then deliver your second breath. Breathe in. 2 breaths. As soon as I've done those, I go straight back on to my 30 compressions with no gap. See, there's no gap in between. You keep it going as much as you can. If you've chosen to do mouth to nose rescue breaths, open the airway first. This hand closes the mouth. You put your mouth around the nose and blow. Breathe in again. 2 breaths. And then straight back on to your compressions. If you don't want to put your mouth around their mouth, there could be blood or vomit around their face, so that's not really a good idea. You can use a face shield, a CPR face shield. They'll come in a little packet like this, and you can get them in a key ring, which are quite useful to keep on your car keys. Open the plastic up and you put the mesh over their mouth or over their nose, depending on which one that you're going to do. So I'm just going to tuck that in to stop it moving. Open the airway exactly the same. You squeeze the nose shut over the top of the plastic and blow through it for your 2 breaths. And again, exactly the same for the nose. So put that on at the start, leave it on, start your chest compressions, and then it's there for you ready to do your 2 rescue breaths. So I would definitely recommend getting a face shield, keeping it in the boot of the car, or like I say, as a key ring on your car keys. Keep going with 30 and 2. Don't stop until, if they show signs of life, so they start breathing for themselves, then you would stop. If somebody comes to take over from you, whether that's the paramedics or whether that's a colleague or somebody else who knows what they're doing CPR wise, it's advised that you try and do 2 minutes each. So one of you on each side and do 2 minutes each, which is great because you don't get tired. They get a fresh pair of hands doing the compressions every couple of minutes, so that's a good idea. If the situation that you're in becomes unsafe and there's a risk of you being in danger, then you need to leave. So please make sure that you do that. And if you become completely exhausted because there's nobody else there to take over from you, then stop, because you're not going to be any good to them if you're flaked out as well. But you'd be amazed how you keep going. It's like you get a superhuman strength, you get a massive adrenaline rush, and you do keep going. You would be so surprised at what you can do in an emergency. So that's how we're doing CPR, 30 chest compressions, 2 rescue breaths, and we repeat. And this is for an adult who's over the age of 18. If you want to know about children and babies, they're on a separate video, so please have a look for those on the YouTube channel. I am on social media if you would like to find me on there, so on Facebook and Instagram, and you're looking for @Skylark First Aid. If you want some information about the courses that I offer, best place to look is the website skylarkfirstaid.co.uk. Hope you've enjoyed this video and found it useful. Thank you.